All right, guys, it's Friday, January 12th. We're going to take a look at eBay sold listings for fancy serial numbers. Ooh. Um, yeah, quite a good week. We only had to go back as far as yesterday at 9:50 a.m. And we have about 20 listings to examine here. And that's quite a bit, in case you're wondering, over a 24-hour period. That's pretty insane. It used to be that back in the very beginning when I first started doing the fancy serial number recap, it took me nearly a week worth of activity to find specific serial number type notes that were worth talking about. And um, this was only about summertime of 2023. I mean, from that point all the way up to right now, when we are at the very, very beginning of 2024, you guys obviously have seen the growth and the potential of this aspect of the hobby, which has blown up to an epic proportion. I can only figure that at the end of the year, or possibly into 2025, this thing is going to take off so much that it's going to be a regular part of your hunts. It's going to be a regular part to everybody's hunts. No longer will roll hunting, getting bankrolls from the bank and searching through them be the only thing that you could do. This is going to be right up there, in kind of like that next tier of like, okay, I don't want to search pennies this week or half dollars. I'm gonna go ahead and grab $5,000 in $1 bills, and that's probably um, a great not only hobby move but financial move as well, as we're seeing these prices creep up on some of these serial number patterns. So we're gonna go ahead and start things off here with this first note, which is a 2017 $1 bill with binary serial number. And what I like most about this note is that the numbers are grouped together. All right, they're not all kind of like jumbled up. And it's a flipper. Okay, I don't know if you guys know what a flipper is, but there are certain digits, type styles that the BEP uses. And the ones that that are being used by the BEP, where you could flip them over and they still look like an actual number, are zeros, sixes, and nines. Some would say eight, but if you look at the number eight, it's got a bigger ball butt at the bottom and a smaller circle on top to make the eight. So it doesn't quite qualify as a true flipper. And people say, oh, a one is a flipper too. No, it's not, because it's got an actual foot and it's got a flag for the top of the one. So zeros, sixes, and nines. So when you flip this note over, all the nines turn into sixes, all the sixes turn into nines normally. So this one right here, and this is a great note to start off on. The biggest reason why is look at our seller. Russellia 8 is a new seller on the platform, and ended up selling this one to the tune of $39.95. Which for a binary, it's fantastic, but for a flipper, it's really good. And what I like most about this seller, and obviously Russellia has been listening to someone, maybe not necessarily me, but they kind of price protected this note. And what I mean is they didn't just throw it up on eBay, did this glorified 5 or 7 day auction, and started things off at 99 cents and then let it bid up, because there's no guarantees there. I always tell people you could do that and feel comfortable doing that. And you're going to see a bunch of notes here this week where that's the case. But for the seller who's brand new, there's nothing wrong with setting a floor for the value of your item, because I'm sure that Russellia decided that $40 is a comfort level kind of price tier. If it's sold for $40, that's a huge win, because the cost of the note's $1. There's nothing there as far as your initial investment. So this is kind of that proper way of doing it, and especially if you're new, there's nothing wrong with setting up a floor for some of these things. So this is a great example here of how you can approach selling, reselling fancy serial numbers on the secondary market if you're brand new. All right, the next one that we have here. This is kind of interesting. So this is a $2 bill. It ended up selling for $11.11. It doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot here on this one, other than the fact that the serial number appears to be low. Not really. A six-digit serial number is not low at all. It's quite high. But if you take the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are in there outside of the zeros, they kind of made it into a mini ladder, a scrambled mini ladder. Um, and normally, under normal circumstances, I would say, man, that is a stretch. Like you're really reaching for this thing to be something when it's really not. And that probably could have been the case a year ago. This note to me, to a lot of people, would just be a face value of $2. But if you can take advantage of this hot market and how fancy serial numbers can work in various ways, I'm not going to say that there's no wrong way to approach this, but this one right here, this is kind of like dividing that fine line of acceptability in the marketplace and just like you're throwing trash up on eBay. It's right there, and kudos to the seller for trying to spin something on this one, and they ended up earning 5 times face value. I don't know if that quite works out to a lot of people's, tastes, but, this person did do it and it's worth mentioning. So I mentioned it, and, it's not for everyone. For me, I would never do this. But that's me. I'm dealing more on the kind of like top level type of fancies, and this one is not there. The next one that we have here is this well-loved $10 bill, and this is kind of a testament to the staying power of birthday notes, and birthday notes on higher denomination bills, like a $10 bill. So this one reads exactly like you want to see it. We call it the Western way, traditional to our side of the world of how you would write a date, right? So you have 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the date, and 4 digits for the year. So this one reads 0410-1970. So that's April 10th, 1970. So someone that has a birthday, whether alive or no longer around, this is a great kind of significance date, for someone, maybe a parent or, another relative, brother or sister or something like that. It would represent a really cool gift. And we're seeing more of these sell on the secondary market. The only problem is that there's not nearly enough inventory on eBay. It's not being replenished. And this is kind of like one of those areas of fancy serial numbers where I think there needs to be more of a push because the market supports it. So this sold for $34.99, which is not too bad for a $10 bill. I actually have a $20 bill birth date that I want to post, and I'm thinking I'm going to do like $50 for that note. And it will sell. It just has the date has to mean something to that one person. This is not something, ladies and gentlemen, and I've seen it before, where you should start it at 99 cents and bid it up because it's not going to gain any traction. Customarily, it won't, because it's a very niche item that's specific to someone that covets that particular date. So, again, note the condition of the note. It's not the greatest. It's a low NVF with lots of folds in there. But again, it's something that you definitely need to keep an eye out on any denomination. I would figure that even $100 bills with a date on there would sell well above face value. You could probably sell something like that for $150 or higher. You got to set the price intention enough so that way you make profit. All right, and $100 bills is really tough to begin with. So yeah, another great one here to look for. We have our first true binary on tap here, 2017 $1 bill. True binaries are zeros and ones. This one is a very attractive note. This one ended up selling for $56 as what I suspect to be a buy it now hit. Great looking note. Not showing a whole lot of wear. I do, quite frankly, I don't even see a centerfold, but I do see a little bit of crinkle wear, which indicates, that maybe this thing was put into a billfold or something to keep it relatively flat, but still had a little bit of curvature to it. So true binaries are hot in the market right now. There's even true trinaries, which are zeros, ones, and twos, which are starting to gain more popularity in the scene. All right, so we have this one, and again, you could approach me a year ago, and some people would ask me, "Well, Blue Ridge, what do you think about this?" Where I have four pairs, I would say it's cool, but it's not going to make you a whole lot of money. We're going to be changing our tune on these here, as they do delegate some sort of some eye appeal and desirability. It doesn't hurt that you have zeros, ones, twos, and threes. Not exactly in order, but you have all four of those numbers represented in the four pairs that you see here. And it's a dollar bill. And I think that's where a lot of your potential is going to be for notes like this. Is going to be on $1, $2 bills, low denoms. This one sold for $39.95. I mean, there's going to be a day where someone's going to call this one a quadnary because you have four different digits on there, and it's going to be a true quadnary. I don't know if that's going to be a case. I feel stupid just saying it, but the way that this hobby evolves, I could possibly see it coming. So again, the note is not the prettiest. It's got some circulation wear. Next one that we have here is a non-traditional binary, so that's anything outside of zeros and ones. Um, Now, I usually reserve notes like this because the best offer was accepted to the end of the show. And I might check it out or not, but I have a feeling it probably sold for about 20-25 bucks. But you have ones and threes on here. It's a 2017 note. They did a little price protection here by doing a best offer. But there you go. Yeah. Again, pretty nice. And these notes traditionally sell for more. And it doesn't hurt that what's also cool is that this is District 11. This is a Kansas note. So you see all the little 11s all over the place. And then you have the serial number, which has a bunch of ones and a couple threes in there. Just really cool. All right. So, yeah, that's a regular binary. Here's a six in a row sevens. Sevens and eights are always quite pursued. The more of either of those numbers that exists on a note, the more they're going to sell for because they're construed as lucky. Sevens to us because they're on slot machines, and so are eights. Eights are very lucky in China, and people in China do buy these notes, and they pay well above market. So this one right here, $23.99. Again, my good old pet peeve shining through here. Use the eBay edit tool and rotate the images so that way they're horizontal facing onto the listing there. Again, they set the price floor intention of $23.99. They're not willing to go under that, and someone did put a bid in, so it ended up working out. We also have this one here, which is a trinary, so any three numbers, sold by one of our favorite sellers, Ronald J.H. And I guess in a way you could say it's a low serial number, but to me it's not close. I think four digits is about the max I would go for a low serial. But $15 here, 10 bids. Great looking note. Ronald mentioned AU condition on this one. So it probably has one centerfold, quite shallow. And yeah, a pretty nice one. Ronald also had this binary, fives and threes, on a $2017 bill, $12.50 with five bids. So again, he loves just doing traditional auctions on his stuff. VF paper on this one. You got kind of like a weird dark stain spot on the reverse, but yeah, pretty good sale there. We also have a four-digit repeater or quad repeater. So the first four digits is repeated twice. There's eight digits in a serial number. And you have some of the better ones in there, eights and sevens and zeros. So 1650, 15 bids. Again, nice VF note, with some circulation wear. We also have this trinary. It's also six of a kind, not six in a row, because there is a disruptor in the middle there with the 16. So you have six fours. So $10.50, five bids. And again, this is, you're going to find more of these six in a row type of serial numbers than you would anything else. Five in a row also. If it's the right numbers, they'll sell. So $10.50 on this one with five bids. First one here, this is actually a full sheet of 20 notes, and you can actually purchase these on the BEP's website or the US Mint website. And they only show up once a year. So if you didn't put your information in to notify you when these drop, then you'll never know when they'll go on sale because they sell just like that. They're quick. So this one is a 20 note subject sheet, which is actually just a part of a full subject sheet. And this one had this note in the run with a couple of eights, two threes, and four sixes. So it's a trinary note, but the sheet itself sold for $125.38 with 39 bids. That's pretty pricey because you could buy, I think, a 20 note subject for like $40. So this one particular note in there that was a trinary where all the numbers were grouped together, kind of caught the eye of the seller, and then they capitalized on it. So there was a lot of people that were very interested in this one. Okay, now we're getting into some ultra spicy stuff. Some top tier fancies. We have a super radar, which you have bookends and then six in a row of any one digit in the middle. All right. But palindromes are radars. The first four digits read a certain way, and then it's repeated backwards to fill out the rest of the serial number. So this one right here sold for $140. And it's a dollar bill too, guys. The note condition, is worn. It's a very well-worn note. Can you imagine opening up your wallet or obtaining this in change at your local Starbucks? And it's like, shoot, I didn't know that going to Starbucks would be profitable. And a lot of people squander a lot of money paying for those $6 lattes. And then now all of a sudden it came back in a huge way with a super radar, which is really cool. And they're all quite valuable. They're easily $100+ dollars in the secondary market. Here's a low serial star. It's five digits. But it sold for $30. So, I'm beginning to kind of change my stance on it because even though deep down inside of me, because I'm a purist fancy collector going back, 12 years or so, this was never on the radar of being fancy. But being that it's a semi-low serial number, it could also mean that this one is also a low print run as well. The only way to know for sure is to go on mycurrencycollection.com, type in the serial number and see. Because if it ends up being part of like a 160,000 note run, then that's pretty scarce. And that would justify the $30 price tag on this one. Another semi-lowish serial number. And the numbers are cool. It's a trinary, and you have a couple of 25s in there. $10.50, 16 bids. So there was definitely some action. The only problem is it's a $5 bill. And they charge free shipping, so the shipping's on them. So you're probably going to see a very minimal amount of profit here, maybe $3 if you're lucky. Here's a trio set of binaries, zeros and eights, $149. Yeah, that's the ticket. I like it. And you have a couple of $1 bills and one $2 bill, which is really awesome. It's a nice little mix here. When we look at the notes, I have a feeling, they're all in pretty nice shape from what I could see. Someone could buy this and then flip them individually. What's also even more crazy is that Every single one of the serial numbers is exactly the same. 8080, 8880. I mean, that's nuts. This took, I would imagine, many years to find these on the open market, and that's just the number that they elected buying. Because I know in my heart they did not find all of these right by buying just BEP packs from the bank. That would be incredibly clutch, and you're probably more apt to win, the big lottery than you would finding all three of these over the course of a decade. Uh, wow, yeah. Here's a double quad. So you have four digits, four in a row of any two digits, um, back to back. So four sixes, four sevens. Yeah, this is a top tier, top flight serial number. 140 bucks was the sale price on this one, on a $20 bill, no less. And yeah, it's got some circulation wear. So that's a really epic find right there. All right, so we're to that part of the show where we got a few best offers that we need to research, and we're going to use 130 point website to find that out. So our first one is a true super repeater. Again, we're kicking it off with the epic notes here, guys. So this is 9-3 repeated over four times. Beautiful, beautiful number. Um, Divisible by three, every single one, which, it's kind of a stretch, but pretty cool. So we're going to copy and paste the listing title into 130 point, search eBay sales, scroll down a little bit, put in this little search bar, and we're going to find out what we have here. So $89.99 was the original ask, and they accepted an offer of $71. Yeah, not too bad. The note is pretty well circulated. So again, there's still a little bit of that condition factor that plays into the value even of fancy serial numbers. Because I've told you guys, sometimes condition doesn't matter, but on the higher tier type of fancies, it does. A crisp uncirculated version of this note might end up being 150 bucks. So yeah, it does matter to an extent. Um, Seven of a kind sevens with 1 8 in there. Another really, really cool number on a $10 bill this time around. So a few little looks of the note, a little bit of circulation. It's still very attractive to a collector. So, like the previous note, we're going to go ahead and do a little copy and paste action. And get you guys the results you need on this one. So $97 ask, sold for 88. So they took $9 off. That's very respectable. Um, Seven in a rows have traditionally sold for over $100. Seven of a kinds, where you have an interrupter in the middle, sell for just under 100. So there's not a whole lot of difference. But again, condition does play a little bit of a factor in there. And then finally, this one, another double quad, and it's a star. Excuse me. So, $150 ask on this one. And look at it. The note came from circulation. It's got soiling on there. But we are going to find out how much this one sold for. I think it's going to be over $100. I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay, let's do that again. Zeros and fives. I'm telling you guys, if you're not getting into searching fancies, you're playing with house money, first of all, because the money just goes back to the bank. $85. Wow. That's kind of a shocker. I would have picked it up for $85 if given the opportunity. Because I buy these. I buy these top tier notes like this one. Yeah, $85 for that thing. So, um, it's still okay. It's still okay. At least, oh, it does have that black little thing there on the reverse. That's a bummer. That's a killer note. And, you can always check to see what the print run is on my currency collection, since it's a star. If it's part of a low run, then it's kind of like you have two things going for you. So there you go, guys. That's kind of a brief look at this week's fancy serial number market. Actually, more appropriately, the last 24 hours. And there you go. It's gaining popularity. You guys should do it. More people make more money selling these than they do hunting through coin. Um, you know, a note you can find for $1, you can sell for $10, $50, $100, and it's it's like clockwork. I love doing this. It's been one of my favorite things to do here lately. So yeah, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about fancy serial numbers, go ahead and post them below, and we'll address them. And did you have a favorite this week? Would love to hear about it and why. But that's it. I'm your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next coin video. So long.